Welcome, everybody. Very glad to see you in Brussels again, or for the first time. I'm Peteris Zilgalvis, Head of Unit for Digital Innovation and Blockchain in the Digital Single Market, and I apologize for being a little bit late, but it's for a good reason, which I can already signal to you. I'm speaking with my colleagues in the Digital Single Market Strategy Group, which is an internal high-level group that prepares work for the next commission, and we're presenting blockchain to them. So I will also run out again after welcoming you, but then we'll be coming back to listen to the discussions for the rest of the day. In addition to very much welcoming you for taking part again today and spending your valuable time with us, I thought just for those of you who are not familiar with some of the other things we do, to give an overall landscape. The European Blockchain Initiative, broadly defined, is something that started with the European Union's FinTech Action Plan in March of last year, but it's not something that's confined, obviously, by any means to financial technologies. That was just where it was first announced. The first part of it is the think tank, which you could say is the Blockchain Observatory and Forum, where you are today. And this is where there's mapping, there's the community, there is the analysis of policy and technical issues that feed into what we're doing at the European Commission, and that what we can do together in the community more informally. And it's something where we highly appreciate all the members of the consortium of the Blockchain Observatory and Forum. I'm not someone who flatters people and organizations, but I mean, we're very, very happy with the collaboration with them from our side. Hopefully they're happy with us. Secondly, we have the European Blockchain Partnership, which is 29 European countries, 27 EU member states, and Liechtenstein and Norway, who are working together to this year already start deploying a European blockchain services infrastructure. Probably the RegTech on tax reporting will already be online, fully deployed this year. We hope by the end of the year, and also diplomas and audit document publication and self-sovereign identity coming soon. They're a little bit more complicated use cases and not as set already in a regulatory framework. So that unquestionably requires some work. Then we are very happy to be collaborating with the International Association of Trusted Blockchain Applications, which is the private sector organization where we, along with the World Bank, the United Nations, and others, will be in the government advisory board. But this is all being run by private sector bodies. I mean, many of you are members, and we're looking forward to a World Blockchain Congress that they'll be having with the Observatory and us, 11th to the 13th of November in Malaga in Spain, where we glad to enjoy the wonderful weather and sights there, as well as the intellectual engagement of the Congress. And then finally, and this is something that then I put to many of you, we are preparing for the next College of Commissioners, the next European Parliament. As most of you are probably aware, we're a political organization. Our political leaders take the final decisions. We, the civil servants, prepare alternatives for them. And as we have a new set of political leaders coming in, both at the Parliament level and most directly at the Commissioner level, on blockchain, on issues such as smart contracts, tokenization, infrastructure liability or infrastructure responsibility, other things. We're thinking about what might be done or might not be done. It's always an alternative to do nothing and just say things should be completely left to the market. So the Blockchain Observatory and Forum is part of this analysis, along with the conversations with the member states, with the private sector. So if you have things to say in these areas today, governance, obviously, is there anything that the Commission, that the European Union level needs to do, needs to clarify, or just leave the community alone to develop governance, or to link things, let's say, from our our stakeholders' collaboration, from our member state collaboration to what needs to be done. So we'll be very much listening to all of you today. As I said, my slight apology at the beginning, I go back to this digital single market strategy group, but as soon as that's over, I'll be listening to you for the rest of the day. And there's Commission colleagues here and Observatory colleagues here. So we'll all be taking note of things you have to say, and you can also contact us in writing, send us emails and so on if you have something that you either forgot today or wanted to explain in more detail. And with that, then I pass the floor to the Observatory and Forum for the meat of the discussion, the most interesting part of the day. And when I get back from digital single market strategy, I'll be happily listening myself. So welcome again, and let's have an interesting day together.
Thank you very much, Peteris, for this introduction. So today we are going to talk about governance. We have been hearing with the Observatory about this topic since the beginning, and everyone we talked to was saying that this is the most important topic that we are going to tackle with the Observatory. So I hope that you're ready for it. And we have a lot of things to discuss actually today. And if this is working, which seems not to be working, just give me a sec. Just go for the next one. Thanks, Claire. Sorry. So like I said, a lot of people told us that this would be the biggest topic of the Observatory for this year. And we very much believe in it, and we are going to unfold today why this is the most important topic. And when we think about blockchain projects, the first thing that comes out is the fact that it involves inherently multiple actors. When it comes to corporate projects or associations or anything related to the business environment, this is basically different actors coming together, creating a same platform that they are going to run and operate together and use together. And so this is what we see in the business world, but this is also even truer for when it comes to this very decentralized applications, so dApps, but also blockchain protocols. It's always a matter of having multiple actors that most likely have different incentives, different motivations, who sometimes are competitors, but people and organizations that come up together in order to create these elements. And so, of course, one of the core aspects to these projects is to set up the right governance that will enable them to both achieve their goals and manage to set up the protocol, set up the dApp, and set up the business project that they are working on in a fast and efficient way, but also to make sure that the way they are organizing it is going to be the best way in order to have a long-term successful project in the end. And so when we talk about governance, we actually touched upon this topic last October when we were in Berlin. And the reason for it is because there are a set of key success factors for blockchain projects. And governance is one of them, and actually it's at the top of it. We have seen during this workshop that there are some kinds of foundations for all the projects that should be here serving as building blocks. An identity system and permissioning networks are part of them. Security policies and audits are also part of them. And also a set of enabling features that make up this project and that, if followed correctly, ensure the chances of success of the project. And so what we are going to dive into today is exactly what is right there, the sound project and protocol governance. And we want to highlight what does it mean and what are the best practices that we can see in the ecosystem. And during the day, you will see a set of panels and presentation with people who actually met these problems and who are currently solving them or already have solved them. And this will be very valuable insights for us in the conversation. Of course, in the room also, we have many experts who are also facing these issues. So please, again, as all EU blockchain workshops, this is participative. So feel free to ask questions, feel free to participate. And in the afternoon, we are going to have 2 working sessions where the floor is yours and the discussion is completely open. So please bear that in mind for the discussion. So when it comes to what we are going to discuss today, there are really 2 main components for governance. The first one is the project governance. So regardless of your objective, whereas it could be creating a new blockchain protocol, it could be creating a new decentralized application, it could be creating a new business consortium, you are going to need to have a strong project governance. And this means to ask some questions, such as who is going to own the AP? How is the liability distributed? How are you going to organize the different members of your organization? And all these elements are actually central, not necessarily specific to blockchain, but more specific to any type of tech project. And we are going to see them in much detail today and see if there are any specificities from the blockchain world. And then there is a second part, which is more the protocol governance, which could be also seen as the network governance. So you have the technology that is used by all the different members, and you want to ask very specific questions and very tangible questions, such as who is going to run the nodes, who is part of the validators, what consensus protocols should you be using, what are the rules to access the networks, and all these questions that are fundamental, that are really related to the technology choices, and that projects need to make and to make very clear in order to be successful. So this is what we are going to talk about today. And so if we look at the agenda, sorry, Clara, again for that, I apologize. If we look at the agenda, this is really what we are going to see. So in the morning, we are going to have 1 panel and 2 presentations. And the focus for the morning will be both on the enterprise aspect and the more decentralized aspects. And this will be done through a panel discussion on the governance of large-scale blockchain-based enterprise solutions. We are lucky today to have excellent examples of projects that are going live or that are already live and that will be able to share with us what they have experienced and what are the best practices that they have identified. Then, of course, we are going to have some data about and some concrete examples and insights about the governance of projects with Politecnico di Milano, we will be presenting the results of their study. So very dense content here that should be very useful for all of us. And finally, in the morning, Clément Lesage will be presenting the view of more decentralized aspects and more decentralized applications, with, of course, insights on what it takes in terms of game theory and incentives to run these platforms and to create these platforms for the governance. Afternoon sessions, like I said before, 2 working sessions. And before that, we have a presentation with a more citizen-oriented perspective and what blockchain could be used for new types of governance for citizens. So this is what we are going to discuss during this day. I hope that there will be a good energy during the day. I'm sure that there will. And without further ado, I welcome here Reto Gadient, our moderator for this workshop, who will be introducing our panelists who are already here in place for the first discussion. Thank you very much.